Nobody ever thought their way to success. Nobody ever hoped their way to success. Nobody ever wrote goals on a planner to success. They acted. Action is what attracts. It's the action. It's the movement. Every person has a change the world speech inside of them. It's inside of you. Every one of you have a message. Every one of you have a dream. And my hope is that today you'll begin to express that dream better than you ever have, because people need to hear your story. People need to see your vision. And when you learn to communicate, you pass it on to others, and you help so many people make a difference in the world. So let your dream come out and learn how to communicate it with excellence. Thank you very much. My name is John. I'm your friend. Thank you.
We spend a lot of time developing our professions, but we don't spend time developing ourselves. Look, as a leader, as a professional, you have to grow. You have to grow yourself. And to be able to grow yourself, you need to know yourself. A lot of us are not achieving the maximum we can achieve because we have not invested in our personal growth. So we are bringing you this special studies based on John C. Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And we're going to just spend time with you and help you go through the principles that you need to be able to grow your person, to become a better person. Because if you become a better person, you become a better leader, you become a better father, become a better professional. Do not miss this opportunity, as the masterclass is going to be very practical and discussional. It is going to be a limited number of people. So please register now to be part of the program.
Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Platform. My name is Samuel Ayim, and I'm here with a team whose passion is to populate leadership, entrepreneurial development in the hearts of people. Our objective is to encourage you to develop yourself, to unearth the giant within you, to unearth the potential that God has given you, to deploy it for the benefit of the world. So you are welcome to the Leadership Platform this evening, the favorite part of our week, Saturday evening at 7, when we invite you around the table and bring you amazing speakers and teachers and achievers to share their stories, to share their lessons, and to impart freely for your growth. So welcome this evening. we have an amazing speaker this evening on our extraordinary leadership stories. We're going to feature one of Ghana's most amazing innovator and inspiration to the youth and to the world. So sit down, introduce yourself. Let's know where you are coming from. Share this link, which is on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, to all your friends and your colleagues, your bosses. Invite them to the platform to learn, because we are going to have a very amazing session. So please introduce yourself. Let's know where you are coming from. Just your name and where you are coming from will be enough. We know a lot of people join and they don't introduce themselves, but it is our pleasure to introduce you to the world. So please go ahead, let us know where you are coming from. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channels and like our Facebook pages so that you will not miss anything that comes up. All right. So we are ready to rock. But let me talk to you a bit about Live to Lead. Live to Lead is our annual leadership conference, a powerful conference where we bring leaders around the table to share powerful leadership lessons and stories. This is a John C. Maxwell event, the highest of all John's events annually, which is held in Atlanta and hosted simultaneously in over 300 locations across the world. And this has been going on for the past 7-8 years. And CTL Africa, with our friends who are John Maxwell certified coaches, have been holding this event in Ghana. This year will be our 7th year. So we are encouraging you to join, and people who have joined Live to Lead, keep coming. Organizations need to bring their teams around. Every year we bring to you amazing speakers from Ghana who represent the theme for the year. This year, the theme is Leading for Legacy. And we have an amazing personality known not only in the country, but across the world, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, who is a renowned heart surgeon who's made significant contribution to healthcare in Ghana and across the world. He's going to share his amazing legacy leadership story. And with him, we have two other accomplished personalities who are going to also share the platform and discuss the subject of leading for legacy. We have Ohineyere Gifty Auntie, a media personality who has done amazing things. We will have also on the stage Andrew Techi, the founder of ZPay, a fintech organization which is providing fintech services across the world. It's in over 29 countries and counting, starting from Ghana. These are the people we want to showcase, and we want you to listen to their stories and their legacy story. They're going to discuss amazing topics: change your world, how to deal with a failure, how to love in the creation of your legacies, how to build organizations to last, and amazing other lessons. So don't miss it out. All right. So at this point, I see a few people already joining. I see Kwame JB joining all the way from the United Kingdom. All right. Mr. JB, thank you so much. I have Regina Ohui Osabute joining from Heritage Christian University. Thank you, Regina, for joining. I have Dr. Martin, is it Old Gonye? And says Women Leader Toastmasters Club, Cote d'Ivoire. wonderful, wonderful madame. Soyez le bienvenu sur notre plateforme. All right, I have Reclaim Roots. He says hello from Canada. All right, so already we have Africa represented, we have Europe represented, we have North America represented, and so we are already counting across the continent, across the globe. Please introduce yourself. We know there are many more people coming, and those of you who join and you don't introduce yourself to, we know you. So please go ahead and introduce yourself. I have Teka Cameron Taki, also from Canada. Today, Canada is winning. Thank you so much. Gifty Adu Kisi is also here. Gifty is joining from Accra, Ghana. Whoa. We have, all right. So all of you get your seats and get ready. We're going to have our amazing speaker. He's going to share a lot about himself. So I'm not going to give you a very long introduction about our speaker. And as we always say, learning from John C. Maxwell, if you are good, you don't need a long introduction. And if you're not good, a long introduction will not help you. So all we are going to say about our speaker today is that his name is Isaac Sesi. He's a Ghanaian, a young Ghanaian for that, if you say it that way, but he's done amazing things. And he has so many international recognitions. That's what I'm going to share a bit about. He has so many international recognitions from his several startups, and it's amazing. He's done so many startups from his young age of 15. He sets up businesses to solve problems and also to make money for himself. He's been recognized. He has had over 10 international awards, including a recognition as the world's top innovator under age 35 by MIT Technology Review. And he's also featured by several publications, including the Spore Magazine, Feed the Future, Royal Academy of Engineering, City Business News, Feed the Future, Humans of New York, Disrupt Africa, among others. As an international speaker, our speaker this evening has addressed hundreds of students, researchers, professors in several leading universities across the world, including MIT, University of Florida, Yale University, Technical University of Munich, among others. Now, if I say I'm going to continue, we will spend all the time introducing our speaker. And it is my pleasure at this point to bring onto the leadership platform our speaker for tonight. Let me check if he's on. Just a second. All right. I'm not seeing Isaac on now. So let's quickly, Richmond, let's check him. Let's share the live to lead video, and then as we reconnect, because he was on a while ago, reconnect Isaac. So let's share the live to lead video for those who just joined, and let's reconnect Isaac.
Nobody ever thought their way to success. Nobody ever hoped their way to success. Nobody ever wrote goals on a planner to success. They acted. Action is what attracts. It's the action. It's the movement. Every person has a change the world speech inside of them. It's inside of you. Every one of you have a message. Every one of you have a dream. And my hope is that today you'll begin to express that dream better than you ever have, because people need to hear your story. People need to see your vision. And when you learn to communicate, you pass it on to others, and you help so many people make a difference in the world. So let your dream come out and learn how to communicate it with excellence. Thank you very much. My name is John. I'm your friend. Thank you.
Wonderful. Right. So, Isaac, you are welcome to the leadership platform. Are you ready?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for. I'm happy to be here. I am ready to go. I think we can go now. Thanks, really, for inviting me, and I'm hoping to share my knowledge with everybody else.
Thank you so very much. We are privileged to have you. So just before you kick off, you've said that you share some presentation. Then we'll discuss a bit. But before you start, tell us just on the high level, briefly about yourself. I mean, I'm more interested in your early years. Where are you from? Your upbringing, your childhood. Are you some Dadaba from East Legon, beware of dog gates and things like that? Tell us briefly about, lead us a bit into that before we move on. Now that you're an international person, so you must be some Dadaba or something.
Well, I wish. So as you already know, my name is Isaac Sesi. I currently am an entrepreneur, innovator. And I lead a company that is looking to develop solutions to problems within our food systems in Africa. But it hasn't always been so. I grew up in Accra, and I grew up around Airport residential area. And this is the thing, when I tell people I grew up in Airport residential area, they assume I am some dadaba and like life was really good for me. But the irony of growing up in that place was that we were the only house that did not have electricity, that did not have water, and it was actually in an uncompleted house, right, in Airport residential area. So you can imagine, my early years were very humble. I grew up the son of farmers, but then there were so many instances where there was nothing to eat, and we actually went to bed on an empty stomach. So
Wow.
those were like the circumstances in which I grew up in. When I was about 9 or 10, my dad lost his job, and at the same time, even the uncompleted house that we're living in, the owner was like, "You guys have to move out because they want to sell the house." So now we're in a place where we didn't have a place to stay. My dad didn't have a job, and at that age, at 10, 11, we had to move to Kaswa to stay with an uncle, and I had to help generate income for the family. So
Wow.
maybe a lot of people are young and they don't know how things were back then, but then I used to do space to space. So essentially, I mean, those of us who are old, we know what space to space is. So
Yeah.
essentially, I had a phone that I'll carry around, and I'll go to people's houses and say, "Hey, do you want to make a call?" And then 1 minute I'll collect how much was it? Was it? I don't know what the conversion is. I think it was like 2,000. So say 20 pesos now, right?
Yes.
And that was how some of the things I was doing to support the family and to help earn an income. Sometimes I'll do like these snacks. I learned how to make inkati cake and Igbe toffee and stuff. So
This guy,
I'll do these. Charlie, I started hustling from a very early age, right? So I'll do these and take them to Saturday classes. That is if I even have the money, I get the money to go pay for Saturday classes, right? And then take it to the kids and they would buy and get something small for the next week for pocket money. And this was like the circumstances in which I grew up in. Times that I would eat Gary before going to school. And then I get to school with like an empty food flask. And then because I was shy that if I took Gary to school, my mates would laugh at me. So I would go somewhere and eat the Gary and then take the empty food flask to school. And when my friends are outside, just chilling and buying food, I'll just be inside pretending to read, but nothing is in my pocket, so I have to do that. And so essentially those were my early years growing up, and um that was the circumstances in which I grew up in. Unfortunately, even after, and this is all of these things I'm saying, it was 13, 14, right from 10 years all the way to like 13, 14 years. And after 14 years, I went to high school, and you would think that the problems would have ended, but my dad was out of job or out of work for quite a while, so those problems didn't end over there.
absolutely.
Thankfully, I went to Infantipim School, which is considered a good school, right? So in terms of the challenging academic atmosphere, that was very stimulating. However, I still found myself in the position where I was struggling to pay school fees. When it was time for exams, I had to like write what I could write fast, 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 because I knew that our our housemaster, Mr. Boabe, he was coming around to sack school fees. So I have to like write what I could write so that I leave and hopefully I can get a pass mark. So that was I remember the day that I was going to school. My mom had to actually go and sell some of her clothes. Women, our mothers, and how they have like bundles of clothes lying there
Yes.
for future use, right? She had to go sell some so that I could get money to go to um, high school, right? So just these were the difficulties in
Yeah.
which I grew up in. So someone may look at my profile and say, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing this, he's doing that, and they think that all was rosy. And thankfully, I get the opportunity to, share some of these inside stories that people don't know about
Yeah.
for a few reasons, to show that one, regardless of where you are coming from, um, regardless of where you're coming from, you can also make it. Regardless of your circumstances, you can also make a difference. And
Absolutely.
two, to make people realize that, look, you are not alone. Like your situation is not peculiar, or the fact that you find yourself in a certain situation, in a certain difficulty now, doesn't mean that there is no hope for you. So hopefully, I hope that my story encourages people, right? If I want to go into, in fact, if I've shared half of my presentation already, and
Well, and the story is so catching. The story is so amazing, and
yeah,
that is what we want people to understand. And it's not where you start from; it is
yeah,
where you get to, and in
yeah,
between. That's what we want you to reveal to us between where you were and this. So
hmm
I think I will leave the stage to you, and I will let you continue the story. I see you have some slides, so I will leave it to you to continue from there, and then we'll gather again and share a bit more of the backstories about. So
hmm
today the stage is yours. Thank you,
all
Isaac. Go
right,
ahead.
okay. Thank you very much. So, like I started initially. I am an entrepreneur. I'm an engineer and an innovator. I currently am the founder and the CEO of Sesi Technologies, where we develop affordable technology solutions for farmers and agribusinesses to help them reduce losses and maximize productivity, which I'll talk about later. I have a bachelor's degree in electrical and electronic engineering from KNUST. I have a master of business creation degree from the University of Utah. I was the youngest MIT Technology Review Innovator under 35 in the year of 2019, which gave me the opportunity to also do some studies at MIT, which was like one of the biggest highlights of my life, which I'll probably talk about. Um, I've done a few things here and there. I've met five heads of state. I've won 20 plus awards, both personally and my business. And these are like the highlights of like my professional career. But as I started explaining in the beginning, it was not always so. I grew up in a house that did not have electricity or running water. I had a very tough life growing up. I had to work to supplement the family's income as early as 10 years. I talked about that a bit earlier. And I had to, right from that early years, start some entrepreneurial activities to earn an income, to keep going, right? To both to help my family and then also to help go through school. Now, even though starting these, I wouldn't call them businesses, but let's say um, income generating endeavors was born out of necessity because of the kind of situation or economic situation my family found itself in. I realized that it was something that got me very excited. The fact that I could do something that people were willing to pay for and that people were willing to give me money for and that people found satisfaction in, it made me excited. And that was like the early beginnings for me as an entrepreneur, and as like it was like one of the things that builds the foundation for what has become my entrepreneurial journey now. And so fortunately I wrote my BEC, I got a good grade, and then I got my first choice school, which was Infantsipim School. So I ended up in Infantsipim studying science, and because of my interest for technology at the time, Infantsipim was one of the very few schools that you could do science without necessarily having to do biology. And so I opted to do technical drawing, which was really fun for me. But then at that time also, I still had to work to make ends meet and help pay my fees and help put money in my pocket. And so I realized that as a technical drawing student, if we needed a lot of drawing sheets for every week for our drawings, but then there wasn't anybody in the school that was selling drawing sheets. And so I would get permission, go to town and buy a bundle of drawing sheets, and then I'll sell them to my mates, who were, those of us studying technical drawing were about 100. And so I would sell about, one bundle was about 500 sheets, and then I would sell those in like 2 weeks, and then I'd go and buy another bundle and I'll come and sell. And that was like one of my first entrepreneurial activities in high school. And then one day my friend found an ad in the newspaper where we could we could they were selling pen drives, and at the time pen drives and hard drives were like a big thing, and they were very expensive. So the ad that we saw in the newspaper, it was like the prices that the pen drives were selling for was so low. So I was like, my friend was like, you know what, let's start a business out of this. We'll go to Accra, and Infantsipim is in Cape Coast, so which meant having to travel. So I'd leave school, travel to Accra, come and buy a bunch of pen drives and hard drives, take them back, sell them for a profit. And the way this even started was this: I didn't even have the money to go and buy those outright. So I would I made a few posters, and I stuck them around, and I was like, hey, if you need pen drives or hard drive, contact me. And so because I had a reputation that I was a good kid, people trusted me, gave me their money. I would put the money together, go out there, and then buy the pen drives and the hard drives and sell for a profit. So like that was like the second entrepreneurial venture I started while in high school. And these were some of the things that helped me pay fees, take care of like books, take care of my feeding to a certain extent. Unfortunately, I had a very good friend whose parents was also supportive, and so I was able to, despite my personal circumstances, be able to go through high school. So I went through high school. I got a good grade, and it was in my year that you could go from university, you could go from high school straight to university, because previously when you finish high school, you wait for a year and then you go to university. But it was in my year that they started the initiative where right from high school you could go straight to university. And so all of my friends were like, hey, I got Tech, I got Legon, I got this, I got that. But I did not have money to apply to even apply for university. So I had to, and even if I go into university, um, there was no way to like go through school because like no money to pay fees. So I took a gap year and I went to teach science at a preparatory school. And at the time, my salary was like 60 Ghana cedis a month. I mean, you can imagine like who lives on 60 cedis a month. Um, so I put together about 4 months worth of salary, and then I bought forms for KNUST. And most people these days, if you're buying forms for university, you'd buy multiple forms for multiple schools, so that if you don't get one school, you know that you get another school, right? And for me, all I could afford was one forms for one school. So I bought tech forms. I chose electrical engineering because that was my passion. And back in high school, I had become very passionate and interested about technology. And so we had built a bunch of electronic projects. Like we had built dishwashers, we had built a quiz management system for my national science and maths quiz team. And so I had just become very interested in technology, and I actually wanted to go study mechatronics in MIT, but like I mean I can't even afford to buy tech forms. Like how am I getting into MIT, right? So it's like I had to put those dreams on hold for a minute. Now, fortunately, I get into um, KNUST to study electrical and electronic engineering, which was my first choice like program. And as part of our program, some of the things we did included having to build like electronic circuits and all of that, which I had fortunately built a good foundation to because of my previous experience in high school. Now, I then also discovered another opportunity, which was the fact that the electronic projects we had to build, there was nowhere to get the electronic components. There were just very, very few vendors around that time. And if you wanted to get electronic components for your course this semester, you needed to have ordered them last semester. And then I was like, why should it take like months for you to get electronic components to buy? And so I took a leaf out of my high school playbook where I told my friends, look, if you want components, give me your money. I would purchase them for you. You come for them a few months later. And then I gathered the resources, and then I started my first company, which was Invent Electronics, which was one of the first online um, sites where you could get electronic components to buy. And around that time, I mean, it was quite innovative because you could go online, click on whatever component you wanted to buy, and pay directly online, and it will be delivered to you. And that was the first company I registered. And interestingly, I built that website myself. I built the entire e-commerce platform myself because the friend that I had asked to help me build it got too busy. So one time during long vacation, I was like, look, let me learn how to code. And so I learned how to code, and then I built this myself. And that's like, and I'm saying all of these things because this was like the beginning, or this was part of all of the skills and experiences I was building that has helped me get to where I am today. And so then I became known on campus for, if you, among the faculty of engineering, as the guy that would help you with your electronic projects if you um, needed any electronic components or projects. So even my like my senior classmates would come to me to help them with their final year projects, and that was another way in which I was generating income to take care of my needs and my hostel fees and other things while in school. Fortunately, at the time when I was going into KNUST, I had gotten a scholarship from my church, and so I could afford to. They were paying for part of my expenses, and then um, discovering these entrepreneurial opportunities helped pay for the other um, expenses I had. So in final year, one of my friends, Peter, he was like he was a computer science student, and then he also was helping people with their entrepreneurial, like their final year projects. And he was like, yo, you know what? You are doing electronics projects for people. I am doing software projects for people, but because they are our seniors, they are paying us very little. Um, so why don't we come together and then form a company so that we could charge people more for the projects that we built for them? So we came together and then we formed a company called Wires and Bytes. And essentially, in the beginning, Wires and Bytes was just so that we could charge people more money so that we could look more legitimate and charge our seniors more money for doing projects for them. But then eventually we discovered other problems. We discovered that I remember one day we were going to write exams, and if you are in KNUST or if you attended any university, I'm sure that in preparation for the exams, you would solve past questions or what we call PASCO. And then I realized that all the past questions that we were solving, you had to like photocopy them and photocopy them, and there were no answers, and there were these manual pamphlets that you had to like look through, and you were not even sure whether your answers were right or wrong. And we're like, why don't we build an application that would put together all of these past questions, and then you could access it from your phone? And that was like one of the first products we built as Price and Byte. So um, we built this app called Pasco where you could access all of your course content from your phone. And it was like the beginning of forming teams and then just working together as a team and leading a team. So we did this, and then it went almost viral at the time because we're like, okay, we want to just make it available to our course mates. But then before I realized, everybody else was using it. A few months down the line, we won the MTN Apps Challenge. So all of these experiences in engineering, entrepreneurship, and just being passionate about technology altogether led me to the Department of Agric Engineering. So there was one time I was just there, and then my friend called me and was like, hey, these guys at the Department of Agricultural Engineering, they are looking for some people to help them develop this technology. And so they wanted to know if there was someone who was good in electronics who could help with the technology. And so she recommended me because I was good in technology, I mean, electronics. So I went on board, I helped them with the project. And at the time, they were looking to develop this device to help measure the moisture content in in grains. And so I just came on as a research engineer. I helped build the technology, and I was ready to just go back to my life because at the time I was running Invent Electronics and I was running Wires and Bytes. But one of my advisors was like, you know what? Why don't you, if you've done this thing, everybody's excited that you've been able to develop this technology. Why not turn it into a company so that like you can make the technology available to more people? And so then I started Sesi Technologies to make this moisture meter technology that we had developed available to more people. And so in the beginning, I wish I had more photos to show, but in the beginning, we're working from this very tiny office. It was just myself and then one of my colleagues that I had, built the technology with. We started this one of my colleagues I built the technology with. So we started to see, I mean, developing a technology um, as a prototype is very, 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 very different from actually building a business out of it. Because if you are just building a prototype, you are in your lab, you're done, you test, it works, and that's all. But now trying to sell it to someone, first of all, now you need to make sure that the technology is good enough, it meets regulations, and even people like the technology enough. And that was like a totally new experience to me. But thankfully, I had some experience with wires and bytes and invent electronics, so I knew, how to run a business to some extent. But the next few years were like a roller coaster journey. But then, to cut a long story short, it's been over the last 4 years we have discovered, we have gone from just trying to put this technology in the hands of farmers and see whether it works, to now building what we believe, or what I believe is one of my callings, which is to empower farmers with affordable technology solutions. So we went from just myself in the company, to now we have about 15 people on our team, with multiple products, where we, aside from the grain mate moisture meter that we developed, which was like, I mean, if you think of it like, in the whole of Ghana, the companies that are actually developing hardware technologies, in the whole of Ghana, are less than 10. And we are one of those. Like, we are one of those, because everything else you import from China, like your TV is from China, all of your electronics are mostly from China. But here we were building and figuring out how to build these technologies that are impacting farmers, and that are, solving the problem of post-harvest management right from Ghana, right? And so that was something that was like a feat that very few people have achieved. And so thankfully that led to quite a lot of recognition. I was there one day, and you remember I told you that I wanted to go to MIT and I never had the opportunity. I was there, and then MIT reached out and like, hey, we've seen your work that you're doing. We have an initiative where we look at the work that young innovators are doing from across the world. And then in the past, we've had Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody knows Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook. We've had JB Straubel. JB Straubel was the co-founder of Tesla. We have Johnny Ive. Johnny Ive is the chief designer at Apple, right? And these are like global companies that I'm mentioning. We have like the founders of PayPal, right? Which are people that have been recognized as MIT technology innovators. And then we think that you make a good fit. So are you like, and then this was not like something that they just looked at and said, oh, just come and join the list. I remember when I received that email, I didn't really make much of it. And then when I went to look at all of the people that have been recognized, I was like, wow, I can only wish or hope that I get recognized as well. So like there were like a series of interviews, a series of due diligence, making sure that what we're doing was legitimate. And there were like several steps, about 3 or 4 different like shortlisting steps. And finally, I was recognized as like one of the youngest. Actually, the year in which I was recognized, right, I was like the youngest on the entire list, right? And so I went over to MIT, and it was like very intimidating. You walk like I was just there one time, and then this random guy walked up to me, and we're just chatting. Turned out that he had a PhD, and he looked probably younger than me. He had a PhD. He was running this like billion-dollar nuclear research company, right? And I was like, wow, I'm actually in really good company. And so that has been like the journey, right from childhood all the way through all of this adversity up until what we're doing now at Sesi Technologies. And beyond just the grain mates, we've developed other technologies. I see one of my team members over here on the call, Bright. Bright is currently leading the development of our new technology called FarmSense, which is a soil testing technology that will help farmers know whether their nutrients in their soil is enough to ensure the optimum growth of their plants, or if they need more nutrients, and provide analytics and insights and all of that stuff, right? And Bright is someone who just joined us right from university, doing a lot of really amazing things, and just realizing that, look, me, from where I come from and my humble beginnings, I'm able to bring together all of these amazing people, and we can develop solutions that really impact the world. That's very surreal for me, right? And so this is just a not so brief, history of like my background and like my professional journey and all of that. So what are the lessons we can learn from this? I mean, all of the things I have said so far, if you're listening closely, you can glean from it the challenges I've faced. Like, I was never a DB. I've known a lot of adversity. I've known a lot of things that children do not have to go through, like going to bed on an empty stomach, just having to think about whether my fees will be paid or not. Like, Charlie, if I'm like as a student there, the only thing I should be thinking about is passing exams. But I'm thinking about, will my fees be paid or not? Will I even be able to go to university or not? So those are all like early childhood challenges growing up. And now, even with my company that I built, right? Every day, if you're an entrepreneur, even anyone who is an entrepreneur, you're looking at can I even raise money to fund this company and pay salaries? It gets to 25th, 26th, and you're wondering, how am I going to pay my employees? And like, you look at a lot of other people, like you go to LinkedIn right now, if you want to feel under pressure and be intimidated, just go to LinkedIn and scroll. You just see other people who are doing amazing, and then you have to deal with all of this self-doubt and all of this intimidation, imposter syndrome. These are things that I've had to do, asking myself whether I am even good enough, right? And even there are times that when things seem like they are not working, you feel so alone in this journey. You feel like no one understands you, no one gets what you're going through, no one, like, you asking yourself, is this even worth it? Is this thing that I'm doing, is it going to work? These are all like challenges that I have to deal with on an everyday basis. In fact, there were these very dark periods in my life where I was very depressed, to the point where I was even suicidal. And these are like real challenges that I face, right? Like, I'm like, is this even going to work? Is this going to work? Is it going to be worth it? Like, why won't I just go get a job somewhere or like leave the country as everybody is doing? But I look at what we're trying to do, I look at the problem we're solving, and I look at our mission, which is to empower African farmers with technology solutions. And these are things that keep me going. And now, if I had, obviously this journey has not been without its mistakes. There are so many things that I wish I had done differently. But as they say, hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is like something that you had I known, right? Everybody, if everybody had the opportunity to go back, there are a lot of things they'll do differently. But I'm grateful that I have been able to get to where I am. And I'm grateful that like, I've been able to build this team where we're like solving really, really like real problems, right, that face society. So if you are here, or if you're listening to me, if you're watching me, and then you're a young person, whether it is your whether you are looking to build like a corporate career, or you are looking to be an entrepreneur, or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do with your life, first know that whatever challenges you're going through is not peculiar. You are not alone. You may feel like you are alone. No one knows what you're going through. No one understands you. But have comfort in the fact that there are people before you who have gone through very real challenges, and who have been able to come out of that adversity to the point where they are pursuing their dreams now, and let them be inspired and be encouraged that if someone has been able to do it, then I can do it. Number two, just realize that, look, like, we are all on different paths and we are all on different journeys. In this year and age of social media and just information being at your fingertips, it's very easy to look at what people are doing and look down on yourself, um, or write off your efforts, right? But the person that is reaping their harvest now, you do not know the adversity they've gone through. You do not know the season they have been in. You do not know the struggles they have gone through to where they are now. And so understand that everybody's journey is different. And so your time will also come. The fact that someone's time has come now doesn't mean your time is not going to come. Now, another thing, so that's the second piece of advice I want to leave you. Now, another thing I really encourage young people, especially, is to really find something that they're passionate about and build their skills and their expertise in that thing that they are passionate about. For me, I've always been passionate about technology, and so right from the beginning, I built storyboards and all of that stuff. I would go break a radio, take out the motor, connect some paper, cardboard to it, and put it on water. And then when it's moving, I'll be happy, right? Went to high school, really got interested in electronics, met a bunch of people who shared similar passions, and then we built our capacity. By the time I got to university, I was one of the best electronics students in my class, and that was how I even got the opportunity to work. At the Department of Agriculture and Biosystems Engineering. And that's how come I'm even running Sesi Technologies now. And so, look, even the Bible says, seest thou a man diligent in his affairs, right? Which means that, look, like, if you are good at what you do, opportunities will come to you. Young people these days, we're struggling, we're saying we don't have jobs, the country is hard and all of that. But the truth of the matter is, the people with the right skills, the people who have built that expertise in that area, it is jobs that are chasing them. They are not the ones chasing jobs. So if you're a young person, find something you are interested in or something you are passionate about, and then build expertise, build a certain level of depth of expertise in that. And look, it's definitely going to pay off for you. So also realize that nothing is without its challenges. Nothing is without its struggles. If you speak to 100 successful people, every single one of them will be able to sit you down and spend hours and hours and hours talking about the challenges that they've gone through. And so the fact that you're facing challenges today doesn't mean that you should give up, because look, like, nothing, diamonds are formed because of intense pressure, right? Which means that um, before you get to that level of success you're looking for, you're going to go through adversity, you're going to go through challenges, and the people who come out successful are the people who are able to endure those challenges and those adversity. And so my life has been full of challenges and adversity, but fortunately, I am where I am. So just know that if you want to do anything big, you're going to face challenges. Lastly, I as a Christian believe in grace and I believe in favor. Look, there are people that are always going to be smarter than you. There are people that are going to be better than you. There are people that are going to, have, like, be richer than you, right? But then there is a certain factor that can influence the way your life turns out, which has got nothing to do with you. And for me, when I look back, I just realized that some of the opportunities that came to me was because I was in the right place at the right time, or I met the right people, and all of this were things that, like, I had no control over. And so just recognize that it's not always success in life is not always entirely about effort, right? So just know that sometimes it just takes that lucky break, right? But if you position yourself in the right places, you increase the chances of those lucky breaks happening to you. And so that is just some of um, the insights from my journey that I want to live with you. And on this note, I am really uh, looking forward to answering your questions and interacting with you. So thank you very much. I hope that you have been inspired, and I look forward to taking your questions.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ike, that was really amazing. I was still writing, taking notes when you were finishing. I didn't realize you are finished because I mean we could go on this for even more hours. So thank you so much. Guys, please share with us in the chat your your learnings, share with us your questions, and we will take a quick short break, and then we're going to come back. And I have a few questions to unpack some of the lessons, and then also we'll take your questions. So let's take just a quick short break so that I can also take some water. I'm taking my water here, so you guys can also take water. All right. So just a quick break, and we'll be back. All right. So if Richmond is there, share with us the live to lead video, unless for those who just joined. That's Kofi and Richmond. All right. You don't seem to be. There's Richmond. And where's Kofi? All right. All right. So we would, since we are not getting them to give us the video, I would just encourage you guys to go back to our videos. Live to Lead is coming up. It's on October 6th, and we want to encourage all of you. You're going to have stories like this, amazing leadership stories from John C. Maxwell, from Professor Frimpong Boateng, from Hene Gifty Auntie. You're going to have Mr. Andrew Techi of ZPay and others on the platform. There's going to be other people from the international stage sharing lessons on leadership and personal stories of achievement and success and principles like what Ike is sharing with us right now. So, Ike, let me just ask this. I mean, you said something very, very profound that, you know, whilst you were even in the secondary school, you know, you were, people could trust you to give you money so you could go and buy certain items for them. Now, how important is trust, and how do you build this trust? How did you build this trust with your fellow students in a way that they could give you money? Because we know young people, you give them the money and the next thing they are doing some sakawa, or they are buying some iPhone for their girlfriends and things like that. So how did you build this trust, and how important is trust in all your story?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Yeah, trust is like is one of those things that as a human being, I think that trust is a thing that arises out of just character and integrity, right? Now, before someone would give you their money, someone that doesn't get up one day and give you their money, right? If they don't believe that you are a good person that would do what you say you will do, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that as human beings, especially in this day and age where people don't really hold values in high esteem, people are just looking for like a quick looking to make like a quick buck. People are just looking to take advantage of you if you give them the opportunity to. Trust is one of those things that is really going to pay off in the end for you. So it's like it's very important, right? It's really important just being a person that say sticks to your word, that being a person that um does what you say you do. And it's something that you build over time. And for me or for us, like I had the opportunity, you know how our high school system is. You're spending 4 years in the same place with a certain group of people. You have that amount of time to build interactions with people such that over time, those interactions, people form an opinion of you based on those interactions over time. And fortunately for me, I try as much as possible to, just be a decent human being, right?
Mhm.
Build that reputation so that you
Mhm.
know that if you give your money to me, I'm not going to run away with it. And that is
Mhm.
something that has really carried on even up to now. Right now, I am, if you're an entrepreneur, raising funding is one of the most difficult things that you'd ever have to do. And based on this reputation I have built, people that I haven't met in person, right, are giving me money to run my business just
Mhm.
because they believe that I'm a good person. And I'm not going to run away with their money, right? I'm not even offering them collateral or anything, just
Yeah.
because of that uh, reputation I've built as just being a decent person, right?
Yeah.
People are willing to give me their money. So as a human being, right? Even just not even in business, but in life, just know that like have building a life of like integrity, it pays off, right? Just being a decent human being pays off. Being someone who doesn't take advantage of other people, it pays off in all aspects of your life. You don't know where
Mhm.
you're going to be. So like I cannot um overemphasize the importance of being a trustworthy person just in life. And it's just a value that people should pay attention to. Like you may cheat someone and make 5,000 cedis, 10,000, whatever. But whatever you do, you finish spending that money. But the
Absolutely.
reputation, you've soiled your reputation. It's going to live after you. And so yeah, like integrity, being a trustworthy person is a quality that everybody should do.
I like that. And what I'm hearing is that trust and integrity is actually a currency that could even help you to raise capital. Now, let's talk a bit about capital. I see a few questions. I'll come to them. A lot of young people are crying, I want to do something, but I don't have the capital. If I had the capital, I would do something. Now, from the what you are sharing, it looks like there's plenty capital out there. People are just even asking you to take money. They are not taking collateral. What advice will you give to people who are thinking that I need some money before I can do something, and so on? It's a chicken and egg. Do you need capital before you start your business? Do you need your business before you start capital? That capital business, um, conundrum. What is your experience, and what are your lessons that you want to share?
Yeah, so if you ask 110 entrepreneurs, what is your biggest challenge? 9 of them will tell you like capital to start a business. But I think that look, even though it's difficult to find capital to start a business, especially in our environment here in Africa, there are so many innovative ways to find that money. And I know that every business is unique, right? There are certain businesses you cannot start without like some significant amount of investment, right? But just appreciate where you are at this point and then tailor that to what kind of opportunities you can take advantage of now. If you're someone who, I mean, I want to believe that at the very least, if you want to start a business, at the very least, you have some personal savings that you can start with, right? People feel like, okay, I have an idea, and before I can start, I need $1 million before I can start. No, you don't need $1 million. All you need is a customer who is willing to pay for whatever product you want to supply. And if you can convince one person to give you money to offer your product or service, then that is one of the first ways to raise capital. Even if you have 100 CDs, 200 CDs, 300 CDs in your account, that is capital you can start. You have friends, you have family. Those are people you can speak to. I want to believe that if you have put yourself in, build that reputation where people feel like they can trust you with your money, their money, then you can find 2, 3, 4 friends or family members who will give you something small to start with.
Yeah.
And then you have to also understand that, look, you have to put your money where your mouth is, right? If you have nothing to show, if you haven't done anything, you haven't gotten off the ground, you haven't even attempted to do anything, and you come and tell me that I want $1 million to start this idea, like, how much of your money have you put in there, right?
Yeah.
What have you done to show that you've started something, right? We call something traction, which is like the progress you have made with your idea or your business. What traction do you have which shows that if I give you more money, you can what? You can deliver, right? So in short, the point I'm trying to make is that start with use what is within your means to as a stepping stone to unlock more opportunities for you. If you are starting, there are some places you never get money from, like the bank. The bank will not give you money because you're just starting. You are risky. No investor will give you $1 million, but your friend may give you 500 CDs or 1,000 CDs. So start with what you have, whether it's your savings or someone you have convinced to give you initial money to deliver a product or service from, and build from there to unlock more opportunities to raise funds.
Yeah.
Like there were some initiatives I started, and the way I raised money was I offered a service from a skill that I had, right? And so I wanted to start a certain business doing one or two things, and I knew that I could design websites. So I went to people and told them, hey, like, let me design your website for you. And all I needed to design a website was my computer and internet, which did not cost much. And so then what? I offered that service, I got money, I put it in the next thing, and then it grew from there. So I feel like while it is true that raising funds is difficult for any business, I feel like it's an excuse a lot of people to also hide behind. And they have not explored solutions that are available to them. They have not committed themselves and their own funding in there. Like, if you're not taking a bet on yourself, who should take a bet on you?
Absolutely.
You get my point?
Absolutely. That's a very, very important point. At one point, we had the founder of Fidelity Bank, Mr. Duadefa, on at Lift to Lead, and he says, "Look, guys, there's a lot of money out there looking for business to invest in. So it is the ideas that are not the viable ideas that are not there. So if you have viable ideas and things you have spent energy and work on it, like you are saying, that would attract others." And you talk about trust also, but trust also and integrity also goes to what have you done yourself? What do you have to show about the project? You talk about passion and all that. Now, there's one thing that I want you to also share with us. You are inventing all these great things. Have you kind of patented them? Have you registered some of these things? Because you went to MIT and then they're sharing your technology, you're going around. What steps have you taken to protect your inventions? And did you have to go through some standards, a standards board to check some of these things you've done? and so on and so forth. Share a bit briefly that area, because so many people invent things and before they realize somebody has taken it over.
Mm. Well, that's a good question. So we not to get too technical, yes, we have taken, there are steps we have taken to protect our intellectual property, registering a trademark, and quite a number of things. Um, when it comes to um, like proving the integrity of our products, yes, we have certifications from Ghana Standards Authority for some of our products. But then the advice I want to share, especially for young innovators, is that the value of whatever you are putting out there um, lies in your ability to execute, right? If you are building a business, um, it's better, or the thing that you should focus, or if you're, especially when you are starting, the thing that you should focus your attention and your time to is proving that your technology or your business is viable first,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people spend a lot of time, especially in Africa and even in Ghana, where our intellectual property laws are not even established. We don't even have strong, like, well-known intellectual property processes. You could spend lots of time, lots of money just going round and round and round and round and round trying to patent something, and in the
Mm.
end, a patent is only as good as your ability to defend it. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that you have a patent doesn't mean someone in China will not copy you, or
Mm-hmm.
someone in China will not like imitate your product. Having a
Mm-hmm.
patent means that you can go and take them on in court and prove that they have stolen your idea and get damages, which doesn't happen overnight. And if
Yeah.
you are a small company, like, you don't have the the muscle and then the resources to go take on a
Fine.
legal battle. Yeah, so I would say that that is like, not, while it's important, it should not be like the first thing on your mind. You should be more focused on trying to prove that your technology works and your business model works, than to be too focused on the intellectual
On the
property.
legal side and so on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Now, if you
Now,
asked an American this question, they'll probably give you a different answer. But, like, most of us are here, and so it's important to contextualize
and to
the.
be pragmatic.
Yeah, yeah. So that's my thoughts on that question.
Great. Now, you are doing such a great work in our Greek and so on and so forth. Now, the government had this project of planting for food and job. There are different initiatives. At what point has your work come to the attention of the government for support, for whatever? Have you had any approaches? MIT comes from wherever to come and see you. And what about locally? I know you have some awards, but in terms of how to utilize these technologies, do you have anything, any support from government or something?
Well, we have collaborated with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Um, in training farmers on post-harvest management and the use of some of the technologies we produce. But in terms of direct support from the government through any of the government programs, this is not something that we have had a lot of success with. Uh, there are specific agencies within the government who will be a good fit for the products. We have done
Mm,
some engagements. Unfortunately, these have not resulted in the kind of outcomes that we have hoped for. However,
mm,
we have not been discouraged, because we know that um, we don't feel like, people like entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs will be like, oh, like, we're developing this technology in Ghana and the government is not supporting you, the government is bad and all of that stuff. The truth of the matter, that is like, the truth is that you would wish that you were getting more support from your government, right? But as a business, you have to understand that business is business, right? The government does not, like, no one owes you any freebies, right?
Yeah.
And so we are, while we are looking towards forward to like more successful partnerships with the government, we understand how the system is. We understand that
Yeah.
someone is sitting somewhere whose kickbacks is dependent on you not getting business to do, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, unfortunately, it's just what the system currently is. And so we
Yeah.
are looking to figure out how do we build a sustainable business, whether
Business.
the government is supporting us
All
or
right.
not. So
Yeah.
yeah, like that is my very
Yeah.
diplomatic answer to your your question.
I know, but I mean that's one area that I mean, if any government people are listening, there are a lot of young people like this who are doing so many things. In other countries, the state will take support them through it, but we would prefer to throw money to where the foot soldiers can go and shout and so on and use it for elections. Anyway, so how many countries uh, is your business as solutions being used in Africa? Just Ghana? And what is the uptake? Do you have what is the how many customers are using your products? How much of this is how is it being used widely?
Yeah, yeah. So in terms of countries, our products are being used in quite a number. So we have Ghana, we have Nigeria, we have Senegal, we have Tanzania, we have Malawi, we have Zimbabwe, we have
Wow.
Rwanda, we have Honduras, we have the US, we have
Wow.
Bangladesh. So those are like the different countries. I think we have Kenya as well. Those are the different countries in which our innovations are currently in. Within Ghana, we have about 500 different top agribusinesses that are using our products. We have about
Wow.
5,000 farmers that are using them.
How many thousand
Um,
farmers?
about 5,000 farmers that are
Wow.
using our products as well. So we're hoping that those numbers increase because 5,000, there are 3 million smallholder farmers in Ghana. So
Exactly.
5,000 is just a drop in the ocean.
Yes.
You know, the thing about innovation is that you spend a lot of time trying to develop it and then test it and then like then comes the process of now scaling and building adoption. So we have big dreams, we have big ambitions, and we're hoping that when I mention the number of farmers using our products, the zeros will be a lot, and
Wow.
that is, yeah, that is where we actually see the impact. So
Exactly.
um, yeah,
Exactly.
so but for now, you know, we're making progress, and we'll keep doing, we'll keep putting
No,
in our
this is
efforts as well.
amazing. I mean, the number of countries when you were counting, I was almost past 10 countries already, which is great. And over time, it would. All right, let me go to the platform and see what people are saying and what questions they're having. All right, we have more people joining. Isaac Kwashi from Tanzania, Dennis Ahe is here. James Emenike from Togo is here. Manfred from Tanzania is here. Philip Ose is here. Robert Amo is here. Many, many more people. Let me see if what people are commenting on. And I have Olivia Okine. He says, "Good day. Many thanks for the real life stories actually lived and experienced to help draw many others up out of the setbacks from themselves." All right. Okay. Doku Richmond is here from Ghana. Patience is here from East Legon. Yes, Bright Ajiman, that's your partner, I think, is here. Um, Doku says, interesting biography. Nothing is without challenges. Diamonds are formed under intense pressure, and so you must endure the challenges. I think today we vote Richmond Doku as our most active participant. He says, grace, the favor factor that will put you ahead of people. That's true. That's one of the powerful lessons. And his question is, in your presentation, you made a statement that you saw that making the product was your calling. My question is, how do I identify my calling as a young person? So that's one question. You want to note that, and let me check if there are a few more. The question, and they determine your passion. A lot of people have challenges, identify what they have to do. All right. So Manfred is saying, so what is your 5-year plan and strategy to serve Africa at large? Okay. So what is the plan from 5 years from now? Where do we see Sesi technology? And the third one is from Akosia Chuneboa, who says, hi, Isaac, do you have a master's degree? Yes, he mentioned it. And in what? He has a master's degree in business, business what? Something, something.
A master of business creation
Business
degree.
creation. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So take those questions and let's go on. There are a few more. If you do it snappy, I'll have
Okay.
10 minutes to go. Yeah.
All right. So Richmond, for your first question, how do you identify your calling as a young person? I learned about this framework for determining what you want to do, like for determining what you should be doing, right? And then it was this like theory of first of all, like what are you passionate about? What are the things that you do not mind doing, even if no one is going to pay you for them? What are the things that resonate with you, that you like have like a strong affinity for, something you are drawn to, something that you are excited by? That's like the first thing. Okay. The second thing is, what are you skilled at, right? And some of your passions could be things that you build expertise or skills in. And what are things that you are naturally gifted to do, right? And then the third one is like, what are things that can drive your economic engine, right? So if you like playing drums, but no one is going to pay you to play drums, then that is not driving your economic engine. Or if you like reading books, but no one is going to pay you to read books, that's not going to drive your economic engine. So if you can find something that is like at the intersection of all of these three, your passion, your skills, and the thing that will drive your economic engine, then that is like one of the frameworks you can use to determine what your calling is. So you find people caught up in jobs they don't like because they are not passionate about it, they don't love it, they are not skilled at it. It really brings them money, right? And then you also have people that are passionate about things, but then there's no way for them to generate any income out of it. But you want to, if you can find that intersection between something you genuinely love doing, and you are good at, that people are going to pay you for, that is like, I mean, you're pretty close to identifying your calling. So for me, I realized that I had that background in agriculture because like my parents are farmers. I myself am a farmer. I have like a cassava farm and a maize farm. At the same time, I have been like I'm passionate about technology and building things, and um, I even studied electrical engineering in school, which was all about like building stuff, right? Electronics, putting circuits together. And through Sesi Technologies, which is my company, I am able to combine this passion for agriculture and this skill in technology in a social enterprise, right? To develop solutions that people are going to pay me for. So that is like a pretty sweet spot. And so once you can, identify that, then you are quite close to identifying your calling. So Manfred says, "What's my 5-year strategy to serve Africa?" I feel like my calling is to develop solutions to food systems, and I am in Africa. So like I feel like food is one of those very fundamental things everybody eats, and so if I am improving the lives of farmers and people within the agricultural value chain, half of Africa's workforce is involved in agriculture. So that is
Yeah.
pretty big impact. And so if I can do that and make the lives of farmers and farmers families better, help produce good quality food that is nutritious and that is safe for you to consume. I think that that is doing something good, and I hope to keep doing that for the next 5 years. In the process, also, there are other things I'm passionate about, like personal development and just helping young people build themselves up and become the best version of themselves. There are a number of things I do and a number of initiatives I run to achieve that mission, and so I hope to keep doing that. So basically, I have a few vehicles through which I am doing some of these things. I'm both passionate about, and that has a lot of social impacts for Africa. So those are the things I keep doing. I want to keep doing in the next 5 years. Of course, yeah, I think I answered your question. I have a master's degree in business creation from the University of Utah in the US.
Yeah.
I think that there are a
That
few
was it.
more
There was, I
questions.
think Philip was asking, how do you get money from your enterprise? And I'm sure they're paying him plenty money for that. Then there's Emmanuel. What should I do if I seem to be embarking on activities but seeing few results? Well, he told you there's challenges everywhere, so don't give up.
Mm,
Um, Olivia says raising funds honestly is real challenge because many have been duped and backstabbed because of lack of trust and trustworthiness. And she says again, thank you so much for your sharing your priceless values and honesty in every way is key. All right. Then Queen Doss is on okay, joining from Accra, Regina, we say please, does he do training? Okay, so those are the few questions that have come. You want to quickly address those, and then we'll go to
all right.
Sarah. See if she has one or two questions for you.
All right, great. So, Philip, I think I talked about how to raise funding for your enterprise. Start with your own resources, what you have. I actually have a YouTube channel. If you go and search my name, Isaac Sesi, on YouTube, I have a few videos where I actually go in depth into all of the different ways you can raise money for your company. I think you should go search for that. But then again, start with what you have, your savings, um, or people who will be willing to pay you in advance for a service or a product. Or you can speak with friends, family. Then once you have built some traction, then there are opportunities. We have accelerators, we have incubators, we have um, competitions you can apply for. There are some government grants. I mean, there are a bunch of avenues depending on the level that your business has reached. There are avenues, fundraising avenues that you can apply for. So yeah, go on my YouTube channel. There are like a lot of in-depth um, uh,
Discussions.
discussions and um, avenues I share through over there. So Emmanuel says, what should I do if I seem to be embarking on activities but seeing few results? So you can do two things. If you feel like you're on the right track, you are convinced that you're on the right track, you've spoken with mentors, you've spoken with people who can give you sound advice, and you think you are on the right track, then persevere, keep going. But if you have started and you realize that, oh, I went in with this assumption, but my assumptions are not right, then
Mhm.
you do what we call a pivot. So you can either decide that I want to try something else, or you modify what you're doing, right? Because sometimes the good thing, that one of the best results you can get from starting any venture is discovering that it's not going to work.
Mhm.
Because look, Instagram, I'm sorry, I think it's YouTube or so. I think YouTube or Instagram, one of them. It started as a dating website. I think YouTube started as a dating website, right? And now YouTube is what it is now. I'm not sure whether it's YouTube or Instagram, one of them. So sometimes the thing you start at first may turn out to not be the right thing. And so that gives you the opportunity to take a step back and then do something else. So those are two ways you can go. Um, yeah, so Regina,
Do you
I
do
see that.
training?
Do I do training? Depends on what kind of training you're asking about. I see you on LinkedIn, so if you can send me a LinkedIn request,
Mhm.
my name is Isaac Sesi. Um, if you can send me a LinkedIn request, I'm happy to engage with you over there.
Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let me bring Sarah and let's see what she has. But guys, I realize we are at the top of the hour. So if you want to knock off, you can knock off, and we'll see if Isaac can give us a couple of minutes just to round up. But we are at the top of the hour, so we thank you for being with us. But Isaac is still here. If you have some questions, that would be great. But otherwise, Sarah.
Okay, I have just one question. What is one of the greatest failures that you've had, and what did you learn from it, and how is that serving you?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a
Yeah.
very, very good question. Um, I mean, I don't think of them as failures. I think of them as challenges, stroke, learning opportunities. And I don't think I have like one big failure. But then one of the things that happen to me frequently that really, really makes me emotional and gets to me is um, like when I apply for opportunities and then I get rejected. Like rejection is very painful. In fact, there were like recently I applied for this a very prestigious fellowship that if I had gotten into was going to mean a lot for me personally, professionally, and even for for the company. And I went all the way. In fact, only 1% of people who apply gets shortlisted, and I was part of that 1%. I went through different stages, and then at the very last stages, I got rejected. And for like 2 weeks, I was so sad. I was just so upset, right? Because I look at where all of the effort I put in, all of the hard work I put in, and only for them to say no. Like at first, I felt like I was not good enough. And
Mm,
like I literally went through all 5 stages of grief, right? Like I
yeah.
felt like no, first it's like I can't believe I got rejected.
Mhm.
Secondly, I was like, ah, it's like maybe I'm not good enough. And well, eventually I accepted that look, this is just a small bump in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that like as part of this journey, there are going to be a lot of bumps, and this is just one of those bumps. It doesn't serve me well to look at it from a negative perspective, right?
Mhm.
How do I look at this from a positive perspective to propel me? And so, one of the things that failures and these kind of failures really like put in me is this desire and this zeal to become a better version of myself and to do more and to just put in that effort and to prove to myself and everybody else that look, the fact that you rejected me does not mean like that's your loss, not my loss, right? That's your loss. You just missed the opportunity to have like an amazing entrepreneur be part of your network, right? And so it's just trying to turn the situation around to look at the positives. Okay. I mean, in my business life or my entrepreneurial life, there are times that there are quite a number of regrets that I have. Oh, if only I had done this in this year, we would be in a much, much better place than we are now. But then I keep recognizing that look, dwelling on the negatives does not serve me in any way. And so let me turn this and look at it from the perspective of like, like just have like a positive perspective towards everything. And so that's how I deal with these challenges and failures. Just try and look at it from the bright side and just let it ginger me to do more and to put in more effort and to challenge myself and to prove that, look, like I'm the real deal. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I deal with it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So from what I'm getting is that um, shifting your perspective from in positive intelligence, we call it the sage perspective, where you see the gift that is coming out from a certain circumstance or situation. So thank you. Over to you, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for that question. Great question. And thank you, Cecil, for that great response. All right. So I guess there's so many questions, but we will not keep you any longer. I just want to give you the stage to share your final words, your final thoughts to those who are still on the call, and to your final encouragement for all of us. So over to you.
So thank you, everyone. If you stayed long enough to listen to this, congratulations. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Just one final thing to live with you is that in life, at some point you have this plan about how your life should turn out and where you should be at this point in time. But you realize that most of the time life doesn't turn out as you plan or as you anticipate. But regardless of how your life turns out, know that everything happens for a reason. There is the positive that is in every situation. The Bible says that all things work together for the good of them that love God, right? So regardless of wherever you find yourself, know that there is good that can come out of any situation. So just be encouraged, knowing that no matter where you are, no matter what you have done, no matter the circumstances you find yourself in, there's always good that can come out of your situation. So that is what I want to leave with you, and I wish you a happy Saturday evening and a great weekend.
Thank you so very much, Isaac. We really thank you for all these great lessons that you've shared with us. Whatever the challenge, remember, you are not alone. We are different. We have our different journeys. So don't go and envy anybody. You have your own adversities. Others have theirs. Find something you're passionate about and build your skills around it. If you're good at what you do, opportunities will come chasing you. Nothing is without its challenges. So don't give up. Grace and favor has a place in your success. So there's nothing. There are certain situations that there's nothing you can do about it. God would favor you in different ways. And this last one, sometimes life doesn't turn out as you anticipate, but everything happens for a purpose and there'll be good in it. Isaac, God bless you. And we pray that your vision for your company, your vision for your life, your vision for Ghana, your vision for Africa and the world, God will continue to favor you and bless you so that the next time we meet again, we'll be, the 5 will have more zeros than just 3. God bless you and your family. We are grateful and privileged. Have a very good night. You stay on for a few minutes as we say bye-bye to the rest of the participants. Everybody who has been here, we want to thank you. We want to wish you well, and we hope that you've taken these lessons and you're going to do something with your life to be able to make a difference in the world. Good night. God bless you. Tomorrow, Sunday, go to church and thank God for your life. God bless you all. Good night.
Nobody ever thought their way to success. Nobody ever hoped their way to success. Nobody ever wrote goals on a planner to success. They acted. Action is what attracts. It's the action. It's the movement. Every person has a change the world's speech inside of them. It's inside of you. Every one of you have a message. Every one of you have a dream. And my hope is that today you'll begin to express that dream better than you ever have, because people need to hear your story. People need to see your vision. And when you learn to communicate, you pass it on to others, and you help so many people make a difference in the world. So let your dream come out and learn how to communicate it with excellence. Thank you very much. My name is John.
I'm your friend. Thank you.